Hey, this is Brian. Thanks for watching Kies. In today's video, I'm going to show you step-by-step how to install a CANCHECKED vent gauge in an F90 M5. If you happen to have a G35 series, the process is exactly the same. In today's video, I'm going to focus on the physical installation of a CANCHECKED, and in subsequent videos, we'll walk you through the features and functions. So with that, let's get started. Now, the first part of this process is to disconnect the negative terminal of your battery. You just simply take a 10 mil, loosen this up, you can slide it off and set it to the side. Next, you're going to lightly pull up over here, and then with a plastic trim tool, you can start to navigate this out. Next, what you can do is remove the T20 screw that's located right back here. Looks just like that. From there, you're going to grab under here and start to slowly pull the trim back. You'll hear a series of clips just like that, but be very careful because there's a couple connections over here that we need to disconnect. All right, so the first connection is located over here and it has a little lever. So I'll show you what that looks like. To disconnect it, you press down this little tab, then this is going to rock. And as you rock it and lock it into place, it's going to naturally pull itself out and then be free. Then the other connection is located behind the start stop button. I'll disconnect that and then I'll show you what I did. So basically with this one, you press on this little tab on the bottom and there's also one on the top. So press on the top and bottom and then this will slide right out. All right, with the dash out of the car, what we're going to do is we need to remove both of the vents on this side over here, which is closer to the driver. So to do this, first thing you want to do is disconnect this connection here. All you really need to do is just press in right there and this is going to slide out. And then over here, there's a white connection. That one comes off pretty easy. Next, you're going to remove these 7 T20s. There's one here, here. There's two on top here, one in the back, one over here, and then one down here. Next, we're going to separate the vents from the actual trim. To do this, you're going to just gently lift up on this outer clip, and then it's going to very carefully release. Okay. And you're going to do the same thing on the bottom. Okay, perfect. You can take these, start to pull them out just like that. So now what we're going to do, you pull up on this side and then they kind of slide out on the other. So pull up, slide out, pull up, slide out, and then pull up, slide out. Then you're going to pull up here where my thumb is, and then this whole piece is going to come out just like that. Now, before we install our CANCHECKED in the actual vent housing, what I want to do is I want to prepare it with a couple different wires. First is this little micro USB. It goes in here and it just pops out like this. If you ever need to access any of the data on it or make any changes, this is very handy to have. And while you have everything apart, it just makes sense to have this, and then we're going to route this over to the side of the car. So if you do need it, you have easy access and you don't have to take your whole dash apart. Then you have an 8-pin connector and a 10-pin connector. So what you can do is just plug those into the appropriate fitting. Then you can take both of these wires, and I like to feed them through the top portion of the vent. Then you can take your actual vent, you're going to press it in the one side here. Sometimes it's a little bit of a snug fitting. Just make sure that they're all lined up. And then the other side is just going to snap in. Then once that's done, you can reconnect the two vents. There are these little portions that look like this and this. There's 3 of them total. So you just simply click them in place just like that. Okay, then you carefully slide it in. Make sure that this portion goes inside of the clip, and you have to be mindful of the top and also the bottom. Okay, so all my tops are in, my bottoms are in, so I can start to clip these in. Then you can reinstall the 7 T20s. Then you can plug these 2 connections back in. All right, so with that, let's throw it back in the car. Next, we need to get the wires from this section over here to this little cavity. So if you have something like a hanger, you can see I have this flexible magnet. You just route it over here, and you should be able to just go all the way across. And just like that. Then you can take these wires and tape it on the end, and you can carefully navigate these back. So then with these wires, you can just feed them down and through this open hole, and I'll show you what to do with those in just a minute. All right, so once you have your wires through, you can plug back in your start stop button. Now, as you can see, when we go to plug this into this section over here, what's going to happen is these wires are going to get very pinched, which is not a good thing. Now, CanCheck does recommend that you just take a little Dremel, cut a little square hole on top, and you can call it a day. I like to do something slightly different. If you look in these vents, you'll notice that it's very soft foam, and then there's this little plastic border. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to snip the plastic border right here, and then I'll be able to put the wires between the soft foam and this. So this way it is more reversible. Another thing that I want to let you know, you may have noticed that I have an extra connection. We are running an ethanol sensor to our gauge so that we can input our e-content into the gauge, but we're going to save that for another video. So let me just take some cutters. I'll cut this plastic, feed my wires over here, and then we'll start to insert this. Okay, and now we can take this, feed our wires down. And before we press it into the dash, we just have to redo this connector over here. So with this one, again, you slide it in, then start to lever it down, and then you're good to go. Okay, just like that. All right, then you can reinstall your screw over here. All right, for this next part, what we need to do is we need to attach these 4 wires over here. You have power, ground, and then 2 CAN wires. And to be able to make these connections, you're going to need to get down here. So to do that, we need to do 3 things. First, we need to remove this underbody tray here. Next, we need to remove this piece of plastic trim. And then finally this, and then we'll have a lot better access to get where we need. First things first, there are these 2 little tabs. There's one over here, one over here. You just twist those 90 degrees, and then this entire little panel should pop down just like that. And then it has one connection for the light. Disconnect that, and you can set this outside. All right, to remove this part right here, you just get your hand underneath and just very carefully start to lift up. Okay, and that is what it looks like. Now, typically with these, you will have these tabs. So basically the way that these work, you slide these in the little channel here. They only go in one way. And then when you go to reinstall, you just pop them in place. Typically, when you do remove it, they typically stick in the car, so you do have to just pop them out to reinstall, to reapply this piece. Then to remove this, you're gonna pull it outwards. Okay. So again, a lot of times these are going to stick in the car, but you're going to have 3. There's 2 tabs at the top and then 1 at the bottom. All right, now what you need to do is you need to remove a T20 screw in here so that we can remove this black plastic piece right here. Then once you've done that, you can take this piece and pop it out just like that. Again, it has these black plastic clips here and here. You pull it outwards and then it'll pop right out. Now the hardest that we need is this black one. It is the second from the left-hand side. You're going to start by pressing that little middle tab, just like that. And then this little lever right here is going to pop up. As you push it up, it's going to pull the connector out just like that. Next, using a pick tool, you're going to come in here and lift this little tab. You might be able to see it. There's this little piece of plastic down there. You're going to lift the tab on this side, then flip it over, and there's another little tab on the other side. Sometimes when you do one side, the other one will pop back in. And then this covering is going to come off just like that. When you look at this, we need to get to pins 47, which is CAN low, and then 48, which is CAN high. If you take a look over here, it is super tiny. But there's a 1 over here, and then there's an 18 over here. So basically, all of these pin slots are numbered to make sure that you get the right one. We do not recommend that you go by color. It's always easiest to go by number. If I flip it over, you can see that this side says 37. So the first one over here is 37. And then the last one is 54. So let's start from the left and we'll work our way over to 47. So we have 37, 38, 39, 40, 41, 42, 43, 44, 45, 46, 47. So with this one, you can push in the pin and start to pull it down. Okay, so this is 37 over here. Okay. For the CAN wires, the yellow and black goes into pin 1, and the yellow and white goes into pin 2. Once you have them clipped in, you just take this little lock and click it in place just like that. Then once you've done that, you can connect it into the main harness. Then from your little patch harness over here, you're going to take your green wire and put that in where we just removed the other wire. Take the other wire from our patch harness, slide this in until you get an audible click. So when you have the pins properly inserted, the yellow one is in slot 47 and the green is in slot 48. So then you can take your cover and you slide this back in, and what this does is it actually acts as a lock. The groove actually sits behind the pin, so when you slide the pin in, it locks it, and then when you slide this in, it double locks it. And you can take this, line it up, push it in gently, and then pull the lever down to lock it into place. All right, once you've done that, we're gonna take our carpet. We are going to carefully fold it down. And when you look back here, you're going to see this little ground junction box, we'll call it. And this is where we are going to ground our can checked. Now also on this harness, you're going to find a little black wire with a little loop. This is going to be your ground. This is going to get mounted under this 10mm nut. All of these wires over here are also ground, so it's a great location for this. So now with a 10mm, let's remove the nut, we'll install our ground, and then we'll tighten it back up. Next, what you want to do is just be very careful and just put your carpet back. All right, next we need to tap our power. So where we're going to tap power, you need to pull a fuse. So go over here next to this 30, and over here it's going to be 1, 2, 3. We're going to pull this third one out. Now you're going to take that little 5-amp fuse that we removed. This is going to get installed here into the harness. And then you can install this where you just removed the other one. Okay. So when it's installed, it's gonna look just like that. All right, so then you can take this plastic piece again and line everything up and reinstall it. And this is going to protect all those connections. All right, then you can reinstall your screw. Then you can reinstall your plastics in the reversed order that we removed them. Remember, this one is gonna go on first. If you have any of those tabs that got stuck, simply take them out, pop them back in, push this into place. Then you're going to push this one back into place after you've reinstalled all of these tabs. And then you're going to do the exact same thing to this upper panel over here. But before you install this one, what I recommend is that you take your USB wire and just zip tie it up and just put it right in here. This way, if you ever need to get to it, you have very easy access. All right, then the last step is really just to reconnect your battery and you will be good to go. We absolutely love the CANCHECKED. We're going to be doing a series of videos because there's so much packed into this one little device that one video just isn't gonna cut it. So be sure to stay tuned for that. Once again, my name is Brian. Thanks for watching Kies. If you're interested in a CANCHECK for your car, be sure to see the links down in the description below. If you like today's video, give us a thumbs up, make sure to subscribe. Thanks for watching and we'll see you in the next video.